The sprawling white mansion at the edge of the city stood like a silent fortress. Everyone in town knew it belonged to Ethan Blackwood, one of the richest billionaires in the country. Ethan's life looked perfect from the outside: business empire, luxury cars, private jets, and a home that most people could only dream of. But few knew that behind the glossy glass windows of his mansion, loneliness echoed louder than laughter. For months, Ethan had buried himself in meetings, business trips, and endless negotiations. His wife, Amelia, often complained about his absence, but Ethan believed he was doing it all for her, to secure their future, to give her everything she desired. On a rainy Thursday evening, Ethan's flight was unexpectedly cancelled. He decided not to inform Amelia and return home earlier than planned. "Maybe she'll be happy to see me for once," he whispered to himself as the chauffeur drove him through the quiet suburban streets. When the tall iron gates opened, Ethan felt a strange sense of excitement. He stepped out of the car and walked inside, determined to surprise his wife. But as soon as he entered, something felt different. The usually well-lit living room was dim, except for a soft glow coming from the kitchen. There was laughter, gentle, childlike laughter. Ethan froze. He didn't have children. Heart pounding, he slowly made his way toward the sound. What he saw made him stop dead in his tracks. Amelia was sitting at the kitchen table, her arms wrapped protectively around two small children. A boy and a girl, no older than 5 or 6, were giggling as she fed them soup. Their clothes looked plain and worn out, but their eyes sparkled with trust and warmth. Ethan's throat tightened. "Amelia," his voice cracked, barely a whisper. Amelia gasped, spinning around. The spoon dropped from her hand as her face turned pale. Ethan, you're home early." Ethan's gaze darted between her and the children. "Who are they?" he demanded, his voice trembling with anger and confusion. The children instantly clung to Amelia, frightened by the sudden sharpness in his tone. She held them close, her eyes glistening. "Please, Ethan, I can explain." Ethan's fists clenched at his sides. Betrayal. That's what it felt like. His mind raced through 1,000 possibilities. Were these Amelia's children from another man? Had she been hiding a secret life from him all along? "I asked you a question," he thundered, his voice echoing through the marble halls. Amelia stood slowly, tears welling in her eyes. She stroked the children's hair before turning to Ethan. "They're not mine, not in the way you think," she whispered. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "Then whose are they, and why are they here, in my house?" Amelia took a deep breath, her voice trembling. "They're orphans, Ethan. Their mother was the cleaning lady at the community shelter I volunteer at. She died last month in an accident, and they had nowhere else to go. I couldn't let them end up on the streets." For a moment, Ethan felt as if the ground beneath him shifted. His anger faltered, replaced by disbelief. You brought strangers into our home without telling me." "They're not just strangers," Amelia cried. "They're children who lost everything. While you've been flying across the world making deals, I've been here watching lives fall apart. I couldn't stand by and do nothing. So I brought them here, just until I could figure something out." Ethan looked at the children again. Their innocent eyes met his, filled with fear but also hope. Something inside him cracked, an ache he had buried for years. He had spent his whole life building wealth but had never built a family. The boy suddenly whispered, "Are you going to make us leave?" The words pierced through Ethan's chest like a knife. He couldn't answer. Instead, he turned away, his mind spinning. For years, he had believed money was the solution to everything. But here were two small lives, needing nothing but love, safety, and warmth, things money alone couldn't buy. Amelia walked to him, her hand trembling as she touched his arm. "Ethan, I know this isn't what you expected to see tonight. But maybe it's what we need. Maybe this is our chance to fill the emptiness in this house." Silence hung between them, heavy and fragile. Ethan closed his eyes, memories flooding back, his own childhood spent in foster care, the loneliness he had never admitted to anyone, the hunger for a family he had silenced with wealth. When he opened his eyes again, they were softer. He turned back to the children and, for the first time, knelt down to their level. "What are your names?" he asked gently. The little girl peeked from behind Amelia. "Lily," she whispered. The boy added, "I'm Daniel." Ethan managed a small, shaky smile. "Well, Lily and Daniel, welcome home." Amelia gasped, covering her mouth with her hand as tears streamed down her face. The children's eyes widened in disbelief before they ran into Ethan's arms. For the first time in years, he felt something stronger than wealth coursing through him, family. That night, as the rain continued to fall outside, Ethan realized he hadn't lost anything by coming home early. Instead, he had gained something far greater than he had ever imagined.